Thank you, Mark, and thanks everybody for being here with us all today. I want to start straight with melody. So, Kat, if you would post the source sheet, that would be terrific. This is a song that I sang for the first time, maybe in the late 80s, early 90s. It's a Linda Hirschhorn song, and not a lot of like songs pop to the mouth for Tu B'Shvat. So, but this one came in this morning, and I'm slowing it way down for us. So take it in. You shall indeed go out with joy and be led forth in peace. You shall indeed go out with joy and be led forth in peace. Before you, mountains and hills shall break into cries of joy, and all the trees of the wild shall clap their hands. So we may get back to that again later. And for those of you who have been with me on meditations in the past, you know that every now and again I'll dress the colors of the meditation for the day. So I've got my brown trunk, and I've got my green tree, and I've got like some little flowers or fruits here in the colors on my ears. And I would like us to get to the source sheet if we can. I see that there's a link in the box. Can we do? There we go. Thank you. Thanks, Kat. So some of you are familiar with this book, Torah Without End. This is a book that the Institute published with the support of Rabbi Michael Strassfeld in honor of Rabbi Jonathan Slater. And it is an amazing book with meditations for each of the Torah portions and a number of prayers and holidays. And I contributed the Tu B'Shvat teaching. So what I'm going to share with you today will be in part from that, and then we'll divert and do our own piece. So we'll start with this teaching of Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. And if, Kat, if you can scroll just a little bit for the rest of the Hebrew, that would be awesome. Thank you. Ana Rabbeinu Zal Va'amar. Im hayita zoche lishmoa et kol hashirot v'hatishbachot shel ha'asavim. Ech kol esev va'esev omer shira laHashem yitbarach. Bli pniya uvli shum machshavot zarot. We'll get back to that. Ve'einam mitzapim l'shum tashlum gemul. Kama yafeh v'na'eh keshe shom'in hashira shelahem, v'tov ma'od be'enehem la'avod et Hashem b'yirah. So in English, the Rabbi spoke, and this was put together by one of Rabbi Nachman's students. If you could only be privileged to hear the songs and the praises of the grasses, how each and every blade of grass sings out its song to the blessed Creator, without any distracting thoughts and without expectation of any reward. How good and lovely it is when you hear their song. And it is very good when among them to worship the blessed Creator with reverence. So some responses to that, which are some of my notes from the book, if we could scroll down a little bit further, Kat. What really moved me about this piece is the songs of the flora around us. So each and every blade of grass has its own song, we learn from Rabbi Nachman. So does each leaf of a tree, each trunk, each root system. If we listen closely without distraction, machshavot zarot, which could be translated as strange thoughts. I like it here, without distraction. If we become present with the soil being within, right? We are the Adam human that's created from the Adamah, soil. We can not only hear the song of each individual blade of grass, we can hear the harmonies of the grasses. We can then tune our attention to distinguish these melodies from the songs of each tree leaf, trunk, each root. For the sound of a trunk is very different from the song of its leaf, and its roots sing a different melody entire. Yet heard all together, we can even feel in our bones the chorus that each tree composes. What richness then the symphony of a grove or forest with all its trees, shrubs, herbs, and grasses. How can we hear? How can we smell? How can we feel? It begins with creating a relationship with one blade of grass, one leaf, one trunk. In time, we can hear the symphony of the green world, whose exhale is our very inhale. So moving away from the text, what I would like to invite us to do today, thanks, Kat, is to first take a breath into this awareness of green. Many of us are in places right now where being outside is not a good possibility. It may be a possibility, but not necessarily a good possibility. It's cold, it's windy, it's winter. And some of us do have that available to us. So what I would like for us is, if you're in a place where you can perhaps see a tree by looking out your window, or grass, or look at a house plant that might be near you, or perhaps just completely close your eyes and envision whether it is a tree or a leaf or a blade of grass. Find something that helps you connect to the green world. And so you can soften your eyes or leave them alert if that feels right. Allow your feet to be the bottom of your trunk, rooting you down, down, down. And then your legs and thorax being your trunk. Your arms being branches, your head, yet another branch, or maybe it's a flower or a fruit. Feel your soil self, your inner tree. And allow your attention to be drawn to a leaf or a full tree, a sapling even, a blade of grass. Take a minute to be with that. Breathe that in. See the color. Maybe there's more than one color. Feel the color inside of you. Is there a smell? If so, breathe it in. If not, breathe in the air, the freshness, the oxygen provided by all of the green things. Feel the shape and the texture. Is it delicate? Is it sturdy? Does it move? Is it steady? Smooth or rough? What does it feel like? Is there sound? Perhaps the sound of the wind moving through this living thing. And as you become more aware of the sound, see if you can tune into the sound of this leaf or blade of grass or this tree, this trunk, this plant. Listen. As we continue to quiet ourselves, let us focus more fully on what the sound is. We'll take some time in quiet and we'll come back together in a little bit. See if as you hear that sound, you can feel it as well. How does it feel in your limbs? In your heart? Down your spine? We're muted. So if you feel inclined to make that sound in your space, I invite you to do so. If not, just continue to listen. Allow yourself to be bathed with the sound or sounds. Can the sound bathe you? Soothe you? Remind you of the soil with which you are interconnected, from which you are birthed. And the tree, which is your sister and brother. We'll take some more quiet time. Breathe the smell. Hear the sound. How does the sound feel? Is it steady or light? How does it feel in your body? Strong, supple, delicate? powerful. Allow that sound to take over your very physical self and your spiritual self as you breathe. Does breathing your own life into the sound enhance it? Change it? Or is it simply a symbiotic acknowledgement? Take those sounds and sensations all the way down, all the way through your torso into your hips and out into your legs and down through your feet, out through your arms and head. And feel your gratitude for this leaf, trunk, tree, grass, plant. Your gratitude for this life. Your gratitude for the relationship with these green things that allow us to be and to express joy. We'll sit for another moment, then we'll end with a bell. And we bring ourselves back to the space.
Thank you so much, Robin. It's such a beautiful practice for Tu B'Shvat. And we seal it as we do each day by offering those of you who are in mourning or observing a yard site the opportunity to recite Kaddish, or if it's your custom to do so. If you're not reciting Kaddish, you have the opportunity to stay present for those who are, offering your support, compassion. And those who are reciting Kaddish, if you'd like to put the name or names of those you're honoring today in the chat box now or after you recite Kaddish, you're welcome to do so. Thanks to Kat for sharing the words on the screen. And if you're reciting Kaddish, I invite you to join me by arising in body or in spirit to recite the words together. Yitgadal, Yitgadash, Shemei Rabbah,
Rabbi,
Yalmad, Ashkute,
Viamlich
V'yamlichmate,
Malkate,
Ayeko,
Kobe
Say
Israel.
Israel,
Love
La'agalah,
Ismael, Kavi, Biru, Amen. Yehesh,
Shmei Rabbah Mevarach, Shma Lamei
Maya, 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 Barak, Bisabar, Bisarach, Shemam, Yisrael, Bisabar, Bisalal, Shmuel, David, Kushabri,
Elan,
Ayla, Mikor,
Shir
Bakata,
Habishvat,
Kata,
Atzal Mechamat, Ran Ba'ava,
Yehesh, Mama, Rabba, Shemaya, Israel.
Elohim Einu
Shalom,
Shalom,
Imam,
Noam,
Reina
Tzidkenu,
Israel,
Einu
Yaakov,
Yisrael
Teshuvah.
Amen.
And friends, thanks for joining us today. Of course, we hope you'll join us any day the rest of this week. Tomorrow will be Light and Practice by Rabbi Mira Neshama Weil. And on Wednesday by Marita Anderson, Chaplain Marita Anderson. On Thursday, Rabbi Adam Klickfeld will lead our practice. And on Friday, as always, Rebecca Schistler will lead us into Shabbat together. So a wonderful week of practice. And if you're leaving us now, I want to wish you a Chag HaIlanot Sameach, a happy Tu B'Shvat, and we hope to see you soon. If you're able and would like to stay on, you're welcome to use the time just to stay with that beautiful practice that Rabbi Robin Damsky led us in, or just share your reflections on your experience with the practice today, or ask a question. And if you are asking a question, please write question in all caps, and we'll keep an eye on that in the chat. Let's bring you in, Robin. That was just like the perfect Tu B'Shvat thing, I would say. And also the shirt.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to invite people, if you feel inclined, to share what you envisioned in meditation and anything about that, or your sound. Be happy to have you share that with us.
One thing that came up, well, it's having spent a week last week in at that retreat center in California, Robin, I'm quite familiar with, and spending a lot of time with the grasses, which were really lush and green because of the rain, and the gullies, which are usually bone dry, were running with water, and quite beautiful. The trees are just extraordinary there. So I was really in what you were, the practice that you were leading, and I was going back and forth between this, that your teaching is really beautiful to move from the particular, to the systemic, right? Just to start with the blade of grass, and where the different parts of the tree are singing their own song, but the harmony, to hear the harmony, I thought it's a beautiful teaching. To hear kind of the whole orchestra of nature, of all the trees singing, was amazing. A question I have for you is, we have this teaching in Deuteronomy, which becomes part of this poem by the Israeli poet Natan Zach, which becomes part of this beautiful song, Ki Adam Eitz HaSadeh, for a person is like a tree of the field, which comes from a passage in Deuteronomy. This analogy, analogizing between ourselves as human beings and trees, that we are trees, the trees are us, that the same process is going on within us. So I was wondering about that, I could just focus or be very focused on the symphony that's around me, or I can be focused on the same process that's at work within me.
Sure.
I guess I was going to ask you that question about, not that it necessarily matters, but what do you think about, where the starting point for that process? Is it more, do you think it's more helpful to begin externally in basically learning from nature, and then recognize the resonance internally, or the other way around?
Gamza v'gamza. I think that for those who are not Hebrew familiar, yes and yes, or either or. We all have different ways in. I'm inclined to just share this view with you folks for a second. Let's see if I can get this out there. So
Yeah,
this is
that's
what I
great.
get to look out outside my front window, and it's winter here, as you could tell, but there's just these trees are everywhere. And for me, it's impossible to not feel that connection by seeing those trees or by walking outside. I often talk about ants when I think about the magic of creation, because ants in my kitchen are really, really bothersome. But if I'm outside in the garden and I'm watching an ant and I'm seeing it connect with another ant, and I'm seeing that ant connect with another ant, and I'm watching their industry, I'm totally blown away. So it's not any different, I think, if it comes to us from within. If that's how we can access it, that's great. And if it comes to us from being outside, I'm going to guess that for most people, being outside or being with nature around us, whether it's plants in the house or something that's growing that's very close to us, I imagine that's probably an easier connection than kind of creating it in the mind. But we all respond to different things.
Yeah, I think it's worth reading through these beautiful reflections. I have a new perspective on my relationship with nature. I could picture myself sitting in Zichron Yaakov in Israel on a bench near an olive tree and the almond trees in Yerushalayim. I felt the joy entering me from the tree right next to me. I'm going to go outside later and do the meditation again with the redwood trees in our backyard. Oh boy, a big willow tree, the magnolia tree outside my childhood bedroom window.
It's great. Eyes closed, sound connecting experience, a deep-throated, strong chanting Native American style, for with a tree in Central Park. I love it. I'm a New Yorker, so I really feel that. And a higher register, softer chant, for with a changing multicolored leaf. Wow. So Carol moved in and out of a tree and a leaf. It's beautiful. Yeah, these are great. Thanks everybody for sharing these.
These are beautiful.
I've been asked to show my view again. So let's see if is that visible?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it's incredible. Plus you've got the Ahava Rabbah for people who don't know what that means. That means a great love, a limitless love.
Yes, that's actually from the Institute. That's from my clergy leadership program. I got that at the end of our program. So that's with me all the time. Yeah. So any other questions?
I'm looking here to see. Do you know the Robert Frost poem that begins "Tree at my window, window, tree," and goes on to talk about internal and external weather?
I don't, but I'll have to look it up. Thanks. And if somebody finds a link and wants to put it in the chat, that would be terrific.
There's a question from Ricky Lippitz, thinking about how we are commanded to protect trees, not only appreciate them.
Right. So in the same area that Mark was talking about in Deuteronomy, we're commanded it's a teaching about waging war, and that we're commanded to leave the trees of the field, that whatever booty you take, leave the trees of the field. And the intention there is to recognize that, well, it's interesting because the text, is the tree of the field a human, that it can get up and walk away? And that is also reinterpreted as the ka'adam, isn't the tree like a human? So that is where Bal Tashchit, the mitzvah of do not destroy, comes from. It comes from making sure that we protect these trees from being destroyed if we happen to have to wage war. Unfortunately, the concept is not only viable and critical in a state of war, but it's critical and viable every minute of our lives, because I'm looking at Nancy Kuhl and I see a palm tree waving behind you, and I'm not sure if that's if you're sitting in front of that tree or if it's a movie behind your head, but it's awesome. that we are absolutely interconnected with these trees, and we must preserve them for our own survival, let alone for the respect of their interconnected entities with one another. The network that trees have underneath the soil, it's remarkable. So yes, we have an enormous amount of commandment to protect trees in the Torah, and all the more so now with climate concerns, and to plant trees. Yeah.
Thanks, Ricky, for adding there too about it's just I mean, it's wonderful to have a day. Of course, this is an everyday practice, every moment practice, but a day that's dedicated to cultivating, especially awareness of that interdependence and interconnectedness, right?
Yeah, and in a lot of places, people are planting trees at this time. It's great when people can. In some climates, that's prohibitive. I remember being in the north, a big activity in religious school would be to plant parsley as a way of recognizing Tu B'Shvat, and with the hope that that parsley would be ready to be harvested for Passover. And unless you're in a really terrific spot, you might get a sprig or two. But just the intention of creating a relationship with the soil and having children put their hands in the earth and plant seeds and tend something, that in and of itself is a really important practice for us to engage.
Robin, what's your coming up at Limitless Judaism?
So I shared this earlier in the fall. I'm teaching a full year course called Breathe with the Earth, and the winter course was in the winter. The spring course will begin in March. And it's 3 classes, and then there'll be 3 more classes in the summer and 3 more classes in the fall. So if you're interested, Mark just put my website in the chat. If you go there and just sign up for a communication from me, I'll get you some more information. You'll see some more information on the course on there. Don't think the registration for the March course is up yet, but we'll have it up within this week or so.
Oops. I also am going to put the link in again to the book that Robin referenced, that this book, Torah Without End, which is a book of very short, like 2-page essays from a neo-Hasidic perspective on each Torah portion, most of which come with meditations, and that Robin referenced and taught from that. So was Bashert. It was really serendipitous that this week turned out to be. Thank you. Thanks for the commercial. It's a really extraordinary book of all the Torah portions, and as well the holidays and various major Jewish prayers from the liturgy as well. So Robin, how about if we go out with another, would you mind doing another round of Linda Hirschhorn?
Not at all. Not at all.
Okay, hold on.
And feel free to join me, those of you who would like to sing in your own space. And I really want to honor all of the sharing in the chat today, in addition to the shares that we often have, just the beautiful memories and connections that you experienced today. It's really special to see. So thank you, everybody. You shall indeed go out with joy and be led forth in peace. You shall indeed go out with joy and be led forth in peace. Before you, mountains and hills shall break into cries of joy, and all the trees of the wild shall clap their hands, and all the trees of the wild shall clap their hands.
Thanks so much, Robin. As always, you were the perfect person to lead us today, and it was just it was really a perfect practice. So thank you so much.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. We hope to see you tomorrow for practice with Rabbi Mira Neshama Weil, or sometime soon, everyone. Be well, everyone. Many blessings.